I'm Kate from the Small Things blog, and this is March's frequently asked questions video. So if you haven't seen one of these videos before, I post on the Facebook fan page a call for questions. So if you guys have any questions, typically about hair related stuff, you can post them there, and then I'll grab sort of what I think would be most universally interesting for the majority of people watching this video, and then some of the questions that get the most thumbs up, likes. I think, well, it's a liked question, so probably more than just that one person wants to find out the answer to it. So that's kind of how I gauge what questions to answer. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. The first question is, what is the right way to use hairspray? I also don't understand the difference with a brushable and buildable hairspray that allows movement and one that has a really strong hold. Lastly, I can never figure out the perfect way to spray my swooping bangs without a freeze spray, which feels too harsh to me. So I'm thinking by freeze spray you mean like a really strong hold hairspray. Let me kind of back up. So for styling your bangs, I have a tutorial on that, and I share a few of my tips and tricks for getting your bangs to stay in place without being like sprayed and shellacked to where they don't move. So I'd recommend visiting my hair page on the blog and watching the soft swoop tutorial. So the main difference between a flexible hold hairspray and a firm hold hairspray is simply the hold. A really strong hold hairspray like Kenra Volume 25, which you'll hear me talk about a lot on the blog, will fight a little bit of humidity. It's going to keep your hair pretty much exactly how you want it to. And you kind of choose how much hairspray you use. So if you just want to use a little bit of a super strong hold hairspray, it's going to be a little bit more flexible and forgiving. But if you use a really soft hairspray that's a little bit more movable, and the goal is more to kind of hold the general shape instead of spray everything in place, if you only use a little bit of that, it's more likely that your hair is going to move during the day, but that might mean that your style will fall a little bit. And then as far as how to use hairspray, I think what I've noticed whenever I've seen clients spray their own hair is they get really close. They hold the can like really close to their head and spray exactly what they want, and it's, I think, a little bit too close. Ideally you want to hold it like at least 12 inches away. Even if you want something to not move, I still would say don't get that hairspray any closer to your head than like how your elbow would extend. So the farther away you can hold the hairspray and just do sort of a light mist, the better. And if you need more hold, just do another layer of a light mist. The next question is, what causes the hair right in front of the ears to break so easily? Both sides of my head have involuntary sideburns and I hate it. What causes it, and is there any way to prevent the breakage? I cannot seem to grow them out. So just like there are parts of your skin, like the skin right under your eye, and then I think even the skin right above your lip is extremely sensitive and thin, the hair right around your hairline is sensitive and thin as well. So it's more susceptible to damage because even the hair shaft typically is a little bit smaller than hair you may find on the rest of your head. Just kind of like around the back of your hairline too, if you've ever noticed, you might have these thin little hairs, which I think just kind of makes the whole start from skin to hair a little bit softer anyway, so it's not just like a line of really thick hairs growing out. Anyway, they're a lot more susceptible to damage just because they're thinner and finer. And it's normally the first thing that gets hit with everything. Like it's the first thing that gets sun, it's the first thing that gets wind and hairspray, or if you're pulling your hair back in the ponytail, all of this hair right around your face that tends to be really sensitive gets touched and messed with the most, so it's therefore more susceptible to breakage, whereas like the hair on the back of your neck and like an inch up into your hairline is probably not going to break very much because it doesn't get messed with as often. As far as prevention, make sure you're putting conditioner on it. A lot of times people put conditioner on their hair about mid-shaft to ends, because oftentimes you don't need it on your roots anyway, but if you have really fine breakage around your hairline, go ahead and put some conditioner on it and really let it sit, and just be gentle when you're styling it. It can kind of be unavoidable to get a little bit of breakage and damage up there, but you kind of need to baby it. And one of the reasons why it doesn't feel like it grows out is probably because it continually gets damaged. And sometimes when you have those little baby hairs around your face, whether it's from postpartum hair loss or breakage or just seemingly fine hairs that won't grow, a lot of times we tend to do a little bit more work to them to either smooth them down with a flat iron or blow them straight down, and then they're getting sort of excessive work on them, and then they'll break a little bit more. So baby them and try and use a hair product like a wax or a pomade or even a little bit of hairspray to get them to style instead of using a heat source. The third question says, does the order that you apply hair products make a difference? I use a hair oil, volumizing mousse, and sometimes a volumizing spray too. I never know which should go on first. So I do think it makes a difference how you layer your products. So I'll talk about volumizing products and then I'll talk about smoothing products because there were a lot of questions about frizz and stuff on the post that I noticed. So if you're using volumizing products, the first of all, you never want to put any hair product on soaking wet straight out of the shower hair. You want to at least squeeze it a little bit with your towel, or if you have it wrapped up in your towel for any amount of time. The more water you can extract with the towel or time, just letting it air dry a little bit, the better. And you'll kind of find the sweet spot of wet enough, too dry, or too wet. And for me, that's right when I'm done with my makeup. Like if I finish my makeup and then are running around the house doing stuff, my hair will get too dry and then it'll kind of be hard to style. So find that sweet spot, just trial and error on when to apply the product. And then if you're going to do volumizing products, always start with the volumizing mousse because that's going to go on at your roots. Rub it all around, comb it through with your fingers so it disperses to your entire hair. Next, I would use a hair oil if you need something for frizz because your hair is going to be most susceptible to it. And go ahead and pump that in your hand and just rake it through. You don't need to put any oils ever on your roots or like the first couple inches of your hair just because it's unnecessary. And then I would finish, if you are going to use a volumizing spray, by just lifting up the hair and spraying the volumizing spray all over. So that's the order I would do with volumizing products. With straightening products, if you're going to do an oil and like a straightening balm, I would do which would I do first? I'm trying to picture being behind the chair. I think what I would do is the straightening balm first, sort of the thicker, heavier product that's going to do more in straightening the hair, and then finish with an oil. And my rationale behind that is the oil really helps the brush glide through the hair nicely, among other things. But if you're going to try and tame frizz, you're going to need to hit it with a blow dryer and a brush. And so the oil will help kind of make everything soft and shiny on the exterior of the hair. If you're going to do curly hair and like scrunch your hair to dry, I would do a mousse first, and then if you need any kind of curl cream to prevent frizz, do the curl cream second. So you always want to start with sort of the lightest, airiest product first so that can get deep into the hair, and finish with usually the heaviest product. The next question is, what are some simple tips to boost hair after the gym? So one thing that you should try if you haven't already is some dry shampoo. Your hair can be completely dry when you use this product, and if you use some dry shampoo and really rake it in at your roots and then flip upside down and blow dry, that will refresh your hair a lot better than just using dry shampoo. So don't hesitate to hit even completely dry hair with the blow dryer. The heat in the air is just going to kind of pop everything up. If you have sweat on your scalp and your hair is even a little bit damp, that's going to even maximize the effect of blow drying upside down to give it a little bit of life. Other than that, those are the best ways to kind of pop hair back up if you've put it in a ponytail while you've been working out. But my next thing would be throw a couple of Velcro rollers in around sort of the mohawk section of your hair and maybe around the front. And then if you're going to shower, put a shower cap on, so just the steam and warmth from the shower will sort of soften your hair down, but your hair isn't completely wet. Hit those with the blow dryer afterwards, and then take them out when you're like totally done getting ready and finished with getting dressed. Like wait until the last minute and then take those out, and that should revive your hair a little bit. The last question is, once you color your hair, how do you get it back to your natural hair color? Do you do highlights, or do you just grow out your hair, or do you have to recolor it? So I'm going to use myself as an example, and then I'll give you other hypothetical options to sort of help. Well, I don't know, whoever asked this question, I'm not sure what hair color you're starting with and what you're trying to get rid of. So if you are naturally darker and your hair is lighter, like my situation, The easiest and prettiest way to go back to your natural color, in my opinion, would be to start incorporating a lot of lowlights into your hair. And lowlights closer to your natural color, or possibly a little bit darker than, since you're going to have some blonde left. And then once you start to really pack on the lowlights every 6 weeks or however often you do your hair color, it'll start to darken and darken and darken. And then once you're ready and you feel like the transition is going to be less abrupt and your hair's ready, I think, to accept darker color again, I would just do an all over gloss of whatever you want to get back to, if you want to get back to your natural or go even darker. So it could very well take about 5 or 6 months. That's the easiest and prettiest way to do it. You could also go in and they could completely color your hair another color if you're wanting to do that as well. So that's kind of how to get back to dark if you've gone light. If you're light naturally and colored your hair dark, the easiest way to transition out of that is to put a few highlights in, and it might even make a big difference to just put them around your face instead of doing an all over highlight. And then let's say your natural color is like a light brown and the color you were using was a really dark chestnut brown. So it's kind of in the same family, but you can tell your roots are lighter than the hair color left over. The easiest and prettiest way, because you can do whatever you want in one salon appointment, but the prettiest way to get your hair back to your natural color and stop coloring your hair the darker color would be to just pop a couple foils of the darker color around sort of the half circle of your head. So you want to make sure you get your part and right around your face, but sort of let everything else just grow out, I would say. And that way you're getting a little bit of that darker color brought back up to cover your roots, but you're not covering everything. And then eventually, with time, it'll just look like lowlights in your natural color, and then you can just kind of break away from doing that. Okay, so those were all the questions that I'm able to get to today. I hope they were helpful. If you have a question that you would like to have answered in one of my FAQ videos, be sure to like the Small Things blog on Facebook. That is pretty much the only place where I post a call for questions. So, and I do it about once a month. If you want to see any more of these FAQ videos, I have an entire tab on my YouTube channel that you can just watch all of the FAQ videos on. So you can visit my YouTube page, which will be linked in the blog post if you're watching this on the blog, and see all the past FAQ videos from before. I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching.